My wife cheated for 4 years. While I raised our kids, she only came back after he died. But I gave her nothing except the divorce. I have been married for 17 years. As mentioned, we have 3 daughters, 15, 13, and 1. My wife and I were high school sweethearts and have been together for about 23 years. I don't know much right now, but here's the only information I have. 3 days ago, my wife came home from work. She had to work on the 4th, and she seemed frantic and emotional. She quickly packed an overnight bag and left. I only know this because our oldest daughter was home and saw her. She tried talking to her, but my wife was crying, completely distraught, and said nothing. She seemed panicked. Since then, she hasn't responded to any of our texts or calls. I reached out to her parents immediately. They eventually replied, saying that my wife is safe with them and asked me to be patient and understanding. That's all they said. I tried contacting her sister, her brother, and one of her close work friends. Her brother claimed he knew nothing. Her friend told me my wife was at work that morning, but had left by lunchtime 3 days ago and didn't come back. That's all she knew. So here we are, 3 days, and still no contact from my wife, not even with the kids. Nobody is telling us anything, and I'm left here trying to keep things together for our daughters. They keep asking what happened with their mom, and all I can say is that she's at Grandma and Grandpa's, and we need to be patient and understanding. I have this constant, overwhelming urge to just pack up the kids and drive over there without any warning. It's only a 3-hour drive, and sitting here in limbo is agonizing. The kids are starting to think we had a massive fight and are getting divorced, but that couldn't be further from the truth. We don't fight. The kids know that. I don't know what's happening. But can someone offer some logical insight? Emotionally, I'm spiraling, and trying to manage everything alone isn't helping. If someone close to her had passed away, wouldn't I, her husband, be the first one she'd tell? Maybe something from her past resurfaced and caused a breakdown. But again, if the roles were reversed, she'd be the first person I'd run to. We're completely in the dark. None of it makes sense. I'm just here, stuck, with my girls. We know nothing, and everyone is silent. I feel worried, scared, angry, helpless. Basically, every emotion one can feel in a situation like this. Can anyone offer a reasonable explanation? Why would someone ghost their entire family like this? I'm not super familiar with Reddit yet. Apologies if I don't post this the right way. I'm not even sure how to link to my last post. Last night was rough. I didn't sleep at all. I won't be spending much time on the computer today, but I wanted to share what I've learned so far. My father-in-law didn't call me last night, so I eventually contacted the police. They did a wellness check, as many of you suggested. That, unfortunately, triggered a whole mess of issues I won't get into right now. Turns out, my wife has been having an affair for at least 2 years, likely longer. Everyone who commented was right. The man she was cheating with apparently had a heart attack on Tuesday and passed away later that night. I've confirmed that my mother-in-law and likely my sister-in-law knew about the affair and were covering for her. Still, no contact from my wife, not to me, not to our daughters. I'm trying to shield the kids from this for now. Honestly, I have no idea how to handle this. That's all I know. And frankly, it's more than enough to break me. Thank you to everyone who offered support and advice. I don't know how to move forward from this, but if you pray, please keep us in your prayers. A few people recommended this subreddit, so I joined. I've been reading through a lot of posts, mostly late at night, when the chaos of the day finally ends. But then my mind takes over, and I fall into waves of depression, followed by intense anger, sometimes both at once. Sleep has become nearly impossible. I drift through the days like a zombie. I'm trying to learn the acronyms. I guess D-Day for me was Friday. At first, I thought it was a 2-year affair, but now I'm almost certain it lasted even longer. The man she was seeing, her AP, was someone she'd known for a long time. His death from a heart attack is what unraveled everything. With the help of my oldest daughter, I'm still trying to uncover the full story. There are a lot of things I'm still not ready to talk about. Honestly, I had no intention of continuing to post updates about my situation, but so many people have offered support, advice, and kindness. It's become strangely therapeutic. It breaks my heart to see how many others are struggling through similar pain. For that, I'm truly sorry. I've met with 2 different lawyers, one yesterday and one today, to explore my options. I also reached out to several places for therapy, but wait times are extremely long where I live. I'm trying to follow as much advice as I can, avoiding alcohol, not a problem since I don't drink and never have, practicing self-care, working out, etc. I'd say I'm in pretty good shape for my age, but it's been hard to find the motivation to work out lately. I know many of you will want to ask for details, the who, what, when, and why, but please understand I'm not ready to get into that. Every day feels like a new explosion, and right now I'm just looking for help with one thing: sleep. I need to start sleeping again. My wife was everything to me. She was my best friend since high school, the mother of my 3 amazing daughters. We had our inside jokes, secret handshakes, and now it's all just gone. Completely gone. I replay every milestone, every laugh we shared, and I feel completely crushed. It's like none of it meant anything to her. And now I have to face a future without her. Then come the questions, the "how could you?" moments. I'm suddenly flooded with this burning rage I can't control. I scream into my pillow and punch the mattress until my arms give out. It's a horrible cycle. I only sleep when I physically collapse from exhaustion, but even then, I'll wake up suddenly and the mental torment starts all over again. Whatever energy I have left, I pour into my daughters. They've been trying to take care of me like they're the adults. It's not fair to them. They deserve better than this version of me. How did any of you sleep after discovering an affair? How did you deal with the silence, the emptiness of lying awake alone with just your thoughts? Outside of caring for my daughters, I've decided that sleep must become my top priority in all of this. But I don't know how to get there. If anyone has advice, I'd be so grateful. Thank you all. Apologies. I'm still relatively new to Reddit and I'm not sure how much of my situation I should recap. But it's been just over a week since D-Day. And since that moment, I've learned that my wife's affair lasted well over 4 years. I still don't have the full timeline. It likely started as an emotional connection and eventually became physical. I wonder how much the pandemic and lockdowns factored into it. These are questions I may never get answers to. Yesterday, my in-laws made a surprise visit to see the girls. My wife has been staying at their house since all of this started, which, frankly, is outrageous. They spent all of 15 minutes greeting the kids before asking to speak with me privately. As you'd expect, it was a long conversation. I won't rehash every detail, but here's the bottom line. My wife wants to come home. She's terrified of the backlash and afraid to face what she's done. Her parents spent a lot of time trying to gauge whether I'm planning on divorcing and worked hard to convince me to forgive her and try to rebuild the marriage. They were clearly embarrassed and ashamed, but it was also obvious they wanted her out of their home. The conversation remained respectful and civil. I'll admit, I lied. I told them I wasn't sure about my future plans, even though I absolutely intend to file for divorce. The reason I didn't tell them the truth? I feel like I'll never hear the full story from her otherwise. and maybe I still won't. But I want her to sit in front of me and explain. After 17 years of marriage, after being together since high school, after raising 3 children and building a life, I want her to look me in the eye and tell me everything. I want my children to know that I gave her a chance to be honest, that I gave her the opportunity to apologize, that we tried to handle things like mature adults. I'm doing my best to take the high road for their sake. I don't know, maybe I'm doing it all wrong. Legally, I can't keep my wife out of our home. My lawyer made that very clear. If she decides to return, there's nothing I can do to stop her. And honestly, I don't want her back here right now. My daughters and I have started to find a rhythm, a small sense of peace. So, I made a demand that I felt to this point. What did I do to deserve this? I told her she was my whole world. Even through all the ordinary moments, the long work days, the chaos of raising 3 kids, I still loved her like I did when we were teenagers, and now all I had left were memories and this unbearable ache. I reminded her that the only condition I had set for her return was honesty. Just one honest conversation. I didn't ask for immediate forgiveness. I didn't even ask for a breakdown of every detail. I only asked that she sit down, face me, and show some respect to the life we built, the family we raised. But even that was too much, and she still said nothing. So I told her again, I wanted a divorce. Not as a threat, not out of spite, but because I knew I couldn't live like this, waiting for a truth that might never come, living with someone who couldn't even acknowledge what she had done. At that point, she finally looked up at me, just looked. Her face was pale, eyes red, mouth trembling like she was going to say something, but nothing came out. I don't know if it was shame, shock, or sheer disbelief that I had figured everything out. Maybe she had convinced herself she could come back and pretend it never happened. Maybe she thought time would smooth it over. But I saw no remorse, no real emotion, just silence. It was one of the most surreal moments of my life. I stood there, so full of pain, so exhausted from weeks of mental torture, and I realized I was never going to get the answers I wanted. Not now, maybe not ever. And despite everything I'd practiced, all the versions of this confrontation I'd rehearsed in my mind, I had no idea what to do next. My daughters were upstairs. I needed to hold it together for them. So I just walked away. I went into the living room, sat on the couch, and let the weight of it all hit me. She stayed in the kitchen. I don't even know for how long. Eventually, I heard her go upstairs. She didn't say a word. There's no dramatic ending to this update, no resolution, no outburst, just silence, deafening, painful silence. I don't know what tomorrow will bring, but I know that today I tried. I gave her the opportunity, I gave her the space, I stayed calm, and I chose truth over denial, dignity over chaos. Now I just have to figure out how to keep going. For my girls, for myself, thank you all, truly. Your advice, your support, your empathy, it has meant more than I can put into words. Home. She had this strange look on her face. Calm, almost like nothing was wrong. I could tell she wanted to talk, but I was so emotionally drained I didn't have it in me. Still, I asked her if something was wrong. She said no. Just that she was thinking about staying at the house this weekend instead of going to her sister's. I didn't respond right away. I just stood there, trying to keep my breathing steady, staring into the refrigerator like I was going to find an escape inside. Then she said it. She said she didn't want to keep being a ghost in this house. That she wanted to start repairing the damage, to start talking again, especially for the girls. I couldn't take it. I snapped. I didn't yell, I didn't even raise my voice, but the words came out sharper than I intended. I told her that she was the one who made herself a ghost, that she chose to lie, to vanish, to betray every part of our life together. And then I asked her again, the one question that never leaves me, was he worth it? She didn't answer, just stood there like a statue. No apology, no explanation, no tears, just that same blank expression. And that broke something in me. I told her she needed to go to her sister's, not tomorrow. Now, she quietly gathered a few things and left without saying goodbye. After she walked out, I sat at the kitchen table for a long time, completely numb. My youngest came in and just hugged me. I didn't even realize I was crying until she wiped my cheek. I don't know how to keep doing this. I feel like I'm hanging on by a thread. Every day, I get up and try to hold it together for my daughters. I cook meals, do laundry, smile when I have to, answer their questions as best I can. But inside, I'm falling apart. I filed for divorce, and yet there's still no closure. My wife hasn't hired a lawyer. There's no movement, just this miserable stalemate while we all try to function in this in-between hell. And the girls? They're trying their best. They laugh sometimes, do their homework. But the tension in the house is unbearable. Our oldest refuses to even be in the same room as her mother. The middle one avoids confrontation, but I can see how anxious she is. And the youngest, she's clinging to me like I'm her lifeline. I feel like a shell of myself. This isn't who I was a month ago. I want to believe it'll get better. I want to believe the posts and stories that promise healing is possible. But I'm not there yet. Right now, I'm just trying to get through one more day without collapsing. To anyone who's cohabitated with a cheating spouse, how did you survive this? How did you keep your kids emotionally stable? How did you keep your own sanity? I'm trying to stay strong. For them, for me. But tonight I'm not strong. Thanks for reading. Thanks for caring. I don't know what the next phase looks like. I don't even know if the worst is behind me or still ahead. But knowing someone is listening, that helps more than I can explain. Was standing in the hallway again last night. I had just turned off the lights, getting ready to go to bed, and there she was. Quiet, awkward, waiting. I sighed and asked her what she wanted. She whispered, just to talk. Please. I didn't say anything. I was so worn down by the constant emotional swings. Her crying, apologizing, clinging, then avoiding, only to repeat the cycle again. But I stepped aside and let her in. She sat on the edge of the bed like a nervous stranger and just stared at the floor for a long time. And then, for the first time since all of this began, she actually started talking. Not just vague apologies, not just sobs and silence. She told me she hated herself, that she'd been carrying guilt for years and didn't know how to stop, that the affairs started slow, conversations, lunch breaks, inside jokes, until she realized she was more excited to see him than me, that she would cry herself to sleep some nights, that she didn't leave because she didn't love me or the girls, but because she didn't know how to stop hurting us all and couldn't admit how deep in she was. I just sat there, listening, arms folded. I didn't say a word. And eventually she said the words I wasn't sure I'd ever hear. I chose him over you, and I regret it every day. And then came the tears, real ones. The kind I thought I wanted to see weeks ago. The kind I thought would give me closure. But watching her sob like that, confessing everything in a single breath, didn't feel like victory. It didn't even feel like justice. It felt like watching a car crash in slow motion, one where everyone involved is already bloodied and broken and just waiting for the ambulance to show up. I didn't forgive her. I didn't say anything noble or wise or compassionate. I just said, too late. And I got up and walked out of the room. I slept on the couch again, woke up early, went for a long drive before the girls got up. Needed space to breathe. This week has been the worst one yet. And that's saying something. I keep blaming myself for slipping up, for yelling that night, for letting her see me lose it, for allowing her to draw me into one last emotional roller coaster after I'd sworn to stay cold, indifferent, untouchable. But I'm human. I've spent the last few days battling waves of grief, guilt, confusion, and occasional flickers of compassion I wish I didn't feel anymore. I keep telling myself I'm doing the right thing by divorcing her, that I owe it to my daughters and my future to move forward. But there are moments, terrible, quiet moments, where I still miss the woman I married, the one I thought I knew. Maybe she never existed. Maybe I loved a version of her that wasn't real. Maybe I just wanted to believe in her more than she deserved. I don't know anymore. She's been walking on eggshells since our talk. Keeping to herself, avoiding eye contact, saying almost nothing unless I speak first. It's a strange piece, but a fragile one. The girls have started asking more questions. Our middle daughter asked if Mom was sick and needed help. Our youngest just wants everything to go back to how it was. And our oldest, she's furious, barely says a word to either of us, and spends most of her time in her room with headphones on. Therapy has started. I think it's helping, slowly. At least it gives me something to hold on to, a place to pour this mess into without it spilling onto the girls. I'm trying, I really am, but this is the hardest thing I've ever lived through. Thanks for reading. Thanks for staying with me through all of this. I don't know what tomorrow brings, but tonight, I just needed to let it out again, choose me. But it didn't feel real. It felt like the answer she thought I wanted to hear. The pause before she said it. The tone in her voice. It all sounded rehearsed, like she was just trying to defuse the bomb before it went off. I didn't say anything for a while. After that, I just stared out the windshield of the car. The silence between us stretched so long I could feel the tension thick in the air, like it was pressing down on both of us. She eventually reached for my hand, but I pulled it away without a word. I'm still trying to process everything she told me. The sheer amount of deception, the way she weaved lies into the smallest parts of our everyday life. Weekend trips, traffic delays, errands. So many mundane moments that I never would have questioned. She used our children, our family routines, my trust. Twisted it all into a cover for her double life. The handwritten notes, 5 pages. She had a literal script prepared. Part of me appreciated the effort, the apparent desire to finally be honest. But another part of me felt sick at the idea that she'd had time to plan out her confession, to shape the narrative in a way that might earn sympathy or pity. She said she fell in love with him, that she wanted to run away from the life we built because it felt routine, boring, heavy. She fantasized about being whisked away to tropical getaways and carefree weekends while I was home, taking care of our daughters and managing the life we both created. And yet, now that it's all blown up, now that he's gone and I've filed for divorce, suddenly she's full of love again. Suddenly, I'm everything she wants. Suddenly, she's sobbing in my car in the middle of the night telling me I've always been her one and only. But if he hadn't died, would she be here at all? I asked her that too. She said she didn't know. That answer cut deeper than almost anything else she said. Because that's the truth, isn't it? If he were still alive, I'm not sure she'd be sitting beside me crying. I think she'd be gone. And maybe that's what hurts the most. I've been trying to protect our kids through all of this. I've been holding myself together with duct tape and willpower, doing everything I can to be strong for them. But inside, I'm unraveling. I'm exhausted. I haven't had a full night of sleep in over a month. My appetite's gone. My nerves are shot. My heart feels like it's been crushed in a vice, and every day it just gets squeezed a little tighter. I want to hate her. I want to scream at her every time I see her face. But then she breaks down again, or I see a flicker of who she used to be, and I feel that damn pull again. That stupid part of me that still remembers prom night, our wedding day, the births of our children, the way she used to look at me like I was her whole world. That man is dead now. That version of me died the day I found out. So no, I don't know what to do with this confession. I don't know what I'm supposed to feel. I don't know if she meant any of it. And I sure as hell don't know if any of it matters anymore. What I do know is I need to rest, just for one night. Just a few hours of quiet, dreamless sleep. Maybe then I'll be able to figure out what comes next. Thanks again to everyone still reading. It means more than you know. Pick me. That was my question. Her hesitation was my answer. I told her right there. That pause, that doubt, was why I was divorcing her. Because even now she couldn't tell me the truth. She was still lying. She broke down again, sobbing uncontrollably, but she didn't say another word. We sat in the car for a long while. Her crying. Me, just sitting in silence, completely drained. Eventually, I told her we were divorcing, that we owed it to our daughters to remain civil, to stay strong, kind, and present in their lives. I told her that after everything she had put me through, I hoped she could at least be a good enough person to end things fairly, respectfully, and without cruelty. That would be her last chance to show that she ever really loved me. And then, I said one final thing. It wasn't even my own line. I'd read it somewhere online, but it felt right, painful, honest, final. I leaned over, kissed her softly on the forehead, and told her, I would have loved you forever. Then I got out of the car and walked inside, went to bed. Of course, I didn't sleep, not a second. And now, here I am, still wide awake another night later, writing this. I haven't spoken to my lawyer yet, but her opportunity to contest the divorce has passed. I guess that's something. A small victory in the chaos. But it doesn't feel like relief. I'm still crying, still angry, still broken in ways I don't know how to fix. Last night was brutal, hearing everything laid out in her own voice. I don't know if it helped or made it worse. Honestly, I could have lived without the confession. It brought nothing but more pain. And who knows? Maybe it was all carefully crafted fiction. Maybe some of it was true, maybe all of it. Either way, it lined up with everything I'd already pieced together over the past month, so I accepted it as the most likely version of reality. But it didn't bring peace. It brought torment. Closure should feel like release, not this endless loop of flashbacks, questions, and ache. Every time I think I've made progress, had a good day or two, gotten a little stronger, something always drags me back under. Some comment, memory, glance, or silence, and I'm drowning again. This entire experience has warped my sense of time. It feels like it's been months, and yet somehow also just days. I'll try to sleep again tonight, though I know I won't. I'll stare at the ceiling, thinking about how the only woman I've ever loved, the only person I've ever kissed, chose to betray me for over 4 years. And not because we fell out of love, not because we stopped connecting or faced intimacy issues, not because of stress, illness, or crisis. She did it because she was bored. Not sure if that makes it better or worse, but it makes it feel utterly meaningless. Like everything we built was so fragile that a little boredom was all it took to destroy it. Thank you to everyone who's been walking this path with me. Even from a distance, your support, your advice, your words, they've mattered more than I can ever say. It's been a very bad couple of nights. Very, very bad.